well today?
Yeah, it was good to me. Lots of energy after practice.
Does the work for you?
Hey?
Does the work for you?
Yeah, some of it. That's why I'm on that.
Coach, interested to see how your team will fare against Pittsburgh with Crosby.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting game. Obviously, a team that's doing extremely well. Also, Sidney being back in the lineup, and a lot of attention has been put towards him, and we know the challenge it represents. But it's a good thing for us, I think, right now where we're at with our team to really give us one of the best possible challenges we can have right now. And it's not going to get any easier the next night when we have to fly to Winnipeg. And Winnipeg, who's been playing pretty well at home too, we've got two big tests there, and the travel involved in that. So, in a way, I'm really looking forward to it.
You talked about this a long time. The schedule is becoming tougher. This is about as tough as it gets for the next week for you.
Yeah, it will be. And like I said, that back-to-back game with that big travel. After the Pittsburgh game, we come back home the next day, and you've got Florida, who's also playing pretty well these days, and then head back on the road against Columbus for Saturday. So it is a good test, and as I mentioned, I'm kind of looking forward to it because it's probably what this team needs right now. Everything has been going pretty smoothly, and in order for us to make sure we stay focused, we probably need a good test like that.
Tuukka's played a decent amount so far, but is this the part of the schedule when you talked before about starting to see him more when these games are piling up and stuff is getting kind of condensed?
Yeah, it is, and it was about giving him an opportunity to be as well tuned as he can be for this stretch, and that's why we tried to give him some games, even though the schedule was favoring us a little bit. And for Tim, having played as much as he did last year is certainly not going to hurt him. The one thing that I like about Tim is that he can get some rest, and it doesn't seem to really affect his game. He comes back, and I haven't seen him look rusty at any time. Even after last year, he took, I think, a whole week off, came back strong, and so that's a good part about Tim, is that we're capable of doing that with Tuukka, because Tim reacts well to it also when he comes back.
So maintenance day, or?
Yeah, just maintenance day. We're fighting a little bit some colds there, and I'm one of those guys going through it also. But yeah, so it's just it's one of those kind of things that's going around right now, and for the sake of a 30-minute practice, it was better for him to stay off.
A lot of teams have a great player and some really good players. They have some really good players and two great players. I know in the past Z would take Ovechkin, for example. How do you handle those two? Because they play on a separate line.
Well, yeah, they do, and we feel that we still got some quality guys, size, and even McQuaid and Ferentz have done a pretty good job. We're pretty comfortable with our pairs and with our depth on defense, and our guys have done a pretty good job, and they're going to be asked to step up and do a pretty good job against those guys that are on separate lines. And you talk about guys that can make a difference, and they've got some guys in the back end as well that carry the puck pretty good and support the attack. So it's going to be about a 5-man unit out there doing a great job here, and again, like I said earlier, just looking forward to this challenge.
We talked about him a little bit last night, but have you seen a step up in Wojciech's game this year, even from last year, a continued improvement from him?
Yeah, I think he's more consistent. Obviously, with I guess confidence, experience. I use that all the time as a reason, but I've seen him play some solid hockey in the past, like he is right now. But you've seen it in the playoffs. Probably 2 years ago, in his first year, he really stepped up in the playoffs and did a great job for us. And last year we obviously leaned on him a little bit more, and this year he's one of those guys that we consider an experienced defenseman back there, because he's played against top lines and he's handling it well. So it's pretty it's a pretty fun story to when you look at how hard it's been for him to make it, and been in the minors for X number of years, and then to make it to the NHL, not as a 5th or 6th, but as a top D right now that we rely on a lot.
Along those lines, you talked about Pittsburgh's depth, but during this great stretch for your team, your D pairs haven't really found like a really good
some stability.
Sets,
yeah, some stability back there, and again, it's a matter of, I think Adam McQuaid has really picked up his game. He's struggling a little bit at the beginning of the year, and Andrew has been such a good partner for him, and he's settled him down, and he's found his game again. And Joe's just coming into this team and adjusting, and you can see him coming around as well, and with sides, a steady presence, and the other two have been, obviously a solid pair as well, and really feel comfortable with those guys, and now they're starting to contribute in the offensive end a little bit more. And beginning of the year, we weren't getting as much production out of our back end as we are lately, and that's nice to see, because you need that part of the team to help score at the other end. Our Ds are supporting the attack better. They're also finding some shooting lanes and getting shots on net, which is helping a lot.
Just given the nature of the game, it's probably not always going to be like that, but just to get a stretch like this, it obviously, where it's consistent, it's got to help all 6 of the guys.
Well, it does. Consistency obviously is something that everybody looks for, whether it's a team, whether it's individuals, and same with us. We're as a coaching staff, it's nice to have some consistency, but in the lines and the pairs, and you saw early in October I was moving guys around a lot, and as far as the lines or combinations were concerned, and you're trying to find some answers and some things to get some guys going. But now we've got some consistency right now, and it's really helped us in that stretch, because every night you've seen it over and over. If it's not one line scoring, it's another one, and it's not always the same line, so teams can't just allow themselves to shut down a certain line and that'll be it, and that's what we're pretty encouraged with, is that we've got some depth that keeps stepping up every game and making a difference.
The Kelly line's been so good for you lately. Is it going to be maybe some of the similar thing you're going to see tomorrow when they're healthy? That Stahl line is real tough.
Yeah, when you got Stahl playing on that line, it says a lot about their depth, and they're a pretty good team, and the coach has done a pretty good job of balancing his lines and finding guys to play with, the Crosbys, and being able to separate those two, Crosby and Malkin, because it certainly makes things a lot tougher on other teams when they can't just shut down the one line, and so he's found some good balance there, and they got some good skill level, and again, that team is the same as ours. They've had different guys step up at times and do the job for them, so that's one of the reasons, like I said, I'm looking forward and excited about tomorrow night, because it should be a real interesting game.
Is this, I know it's early in the season and things change fast, but at this stage, in your opinion, having watched video of them and coaching your team, are these the two best teams in the East right now, playing tomorrow night?
Well, you don't want to lose respect for other teams, because Florida's, really turned it around. They've been a pretty good team, and I think right now I guess the consistency of both teams probably make us probably two of the top teams in East as we speak. As you know, in the long schedule, it can change around. Somebody else gets on a roll. New York is another team that I think is a team you can't underestimate. They've only got 5 regulation losses, and that's in 2 months. We were fortunate not to get any in November, but 5 in 2 months is 3 1 month and 2 in another. So they're doing pretty well too, and they're a hard team to beat.
Thank you.